Okay, of course there are woman landscape photographers. The entire premise of this video is probably just a big lie that I've bought into too. If anything, maybe there are too many woman landscape photographers. Sure, half the world's population are women, but wouldn't it be unreasonable to assume that half of the landscape photographers would be women when? I mean, of course, you've got to consider that workforce participation is lower among women than men, and so maybe we should more reasonably expect the percentage of women photographers to reflect that statistic. Okay, sure. Arbitrarily, it is going to be some amount lower or higher than that other number. I certainly don't have any reason to expect that landscape photography specifically should fall outside of this. If we average maybe the top 3 landscape photography magazines. Okay, I think this can probably be blamed on those darn elitist gatekeepers in the publishing industry. What about like Instagram? YouTube? Well, that's kind of embarrassing. Today, March 8th, is International Women's Day. It's a great day to reflect on disparities like this participation disparity in the landscape photography genre and to apply our imaginations to creating solutions. So I had intended to devote this video to identifying a few of those problems as I see it from the way we've received the tradition of photography, which is sort of invented at the intersection of the arts and the chemical sciences, 2 fields that in their time were especially notorious for excluding women, as well as general professional barriers for women, especially women trying to enter the entrepreneurial and self-employment workforce, and some problems that I think are unique to landscape photography, particularly the way that we assess or evaluate images for their conformity to a specific set of what I think of are essentially masculine language rules, as opposed to whether or not the image successfully communicates something. So I sat down and I tried to collect my thoughts on this, and I really couldn't assemble them in a way that I thought would be effective in a YouTube video. So at the last minute, I decided instead to call an audible and make this a video to introduce you to 5 of my favorite women photographers on YouTube. I picked 5 because YouTube lets you put 5 cards in a video, so as always up here there will be a card over each introduction, and you can go see the channel for themselves and experience their photography and let them explain their work to you in their own words. And in the video description section of this week's video, where I normally have like all my affiliate links and that stuff, you can instead find helpful links to some of my favorite women photographers, as well as some cool Instagram accounts that are dedicated to promoting the work of women photographers. So go give these awesome channels a watch, hopefully with our support, our encouragement, our votes. By the next International Women's Day in 2023, we'll be just a little bit closer to closing that participation gap. So on that hilariously cliche note of masculine optimism, we'll close out the video. I hope you enjoy this preview of these channels. Be sure to go check them out. Until next time, you guys keep an eye out and a foot forward, and thank you for watching.
There's no contact between these branches and the hills. There is a little bit of that, but I've tried to reduce it as much as possible. I'm just going to take you down here out of the wind. Rainbows popping up. We've got the mountain, which has got some beautiful light on it. We're just catching beautifully.
Having amazing light in 2 directions, I rushed from one to the other. In hindsight, I really needed to just stop briefly, even if it was just for 10 to 15 seconds, and survey the scene a bit. In watching back the video, I think there might have been a really good composition if I just moved back and to the left a little bit.
Usually in the actual picture, in the 2:3 ratio, there's a little bit more at the top and the bottom, so you see a little bit more of the tree roots kind of going into the scene. I think I might try doing a panorama here as well. So for panorama, you do need to make sure that your tripod is level. Now, most people generally will level with legs.
the foreground can really get in the way because it's so like woodland. Two-second timer. Look at the way those clouds look in in the water. It's almost like you feel you could be just walking in the clouds. I might try and get that photo where it's just like the clouds in the water and a little bit of the horizon.
I've changed compositions rapidly. The colour was coming up over there. I can't show you because I can't figure it out. It works with this female out. Right. So I shot in that direction because it looked like the best of the light, the best of the colour was going to appear up there. But then I noticed this little street, so I have switched around. I've gone for the 6-stop because I wanted some really long exposures. 6-stop and 0.6. Yeah, not bad. I'm on manual exposure and I'm keeping it at ISO 200. There is a bit of a breeze, so I'm trying to get a good depth of field, hence F11. I've got ISO 200 to let more light in, but 1/5 of a second is about the only option I've got. It's not quite as dark on as it looks on there, but I do like that. It's really good, this wood.
Incredible cliff face behind me, which is what I'm currently framing. So this shot that I'm taking here, the aim of it is to show off the grand scale of this epic cliff face behind me. And when we first came down here, my dad walked all the way around there, and his silhouette at the bottom of this cliff face looked incredible because it showed off the beautiful, stunning cliff face and how tall it is and gave it good scale.
Project that I want to do for myself. So it's about tuning my eye in to the geology around here and the shapes within it and trying to find compositions. I think with every type of photography, when you try it for the first time, it takes you a while to be able to see these things. And while I can see a lot of interest with my eyes, then going to compose that with a camera, it doesn't always look the way that I think it's going to. So yeah, I'll show you this image just now. It's, I think, a little bit more interesting than the last one, and I think it's definitely got potential. But yeah, it's interesting to try this and see what I can discover.